All right, it's Python on hardware time.
That's right. Blinka,
So
blinka, blinka.
just when you thought CircuitPython Day was over,
It was over. That was like 2 weeks ago.
no, it's still going on.
What?
So the latest is this is some photos from Lambda Labs at the Beirut Hackerspace. They did a bunch of projects. This is a cool little Blinka shaker, Circuit Playground Express. And I think we had posted this, but the rest of the photos and information we got came in. So I wanted to make sure I got the word out on this. There was cupcakes.
There's cupcakes.
Yeah, a little bit of a reminder. I had mentioned this earlier, but all month long and or while supplies last, or maybe even a bit longer, every single order at Adafruit, and there's tens of thousands of those per month, gets a CircuitPython.org sticker. In our newsletter, we have a new feature, and it's what is Brian and Dan and Melissa up to? So
That's a really good section. I mean, it's really descriptive.
that's exactly what it is. It's
Okay.
what they're working on. So
This is what Brian's working on.
Is, yeah, there's lots of things.
It's an itsy bitsy airlift wing.
Yep.
And then he's also working on a monochrome OLED bonnet for Raspberry Pi. So we're just doing a couple revisions to get that all working up. And it's just a big chunky OLED, really cool looking.
Yeah, and you can see.
Boom!
Yeah,
Look at how
that's
big that
awesome.
is.
And then Melissa has been in the middle of displays.
Yes, I think she actually finished all of our color TFT displays and now have CircuitPython, Display.io, example code, and images. So we're done with those for now.
Right. And one of the main reasons I wanted to have this as a new section is because there's so much going on with Bluetooth Low Energy that I wanted to make sure we're capturing kind of the weekly progress.
Look, Blinka has a Bluetooth.
That's right. So CircuitPython Bluetooth Energy can be a BLE beacon, including iBeacon and Eddystone Beacon, be a BLE peripheral, acting as both a server providing services as a client talking to a server. BLE Central can scan for peripherals that are advertising and connecting to them. Currently, the Nordic UART service in US is implemented for both clients and servers. Pair with a peer device, but not bond, which is remembering pairing. Connect to a device providing current time service, such as an iPhone, and find out the current time and date. Support has recently been added for fine-grained control of permissions of characteristic and descriptors. BLE HID support is currently being implemented. So there's a lot going on. All right. This is one of the indicators that I think CircuitPython is really, really working out. It's when artists can do things with a programming language and make their art and not worry about the code and not worry about all the electronics that go into it. They can just make something that's really interesting. This is normally a very hard thing to do. So what you see here is a kid's toy. It's a boot, but kids were choking on the little unicorn front of it, and so it became recalled. And so the title of this art project is Recalled. And we called this newsletter Consumers Should Immediately. And this uses a feed from the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, and every single time there's a recalled toy, it'll show it on this recalled toy.
This
So,
is beautiful.
yeah,
I love
so-
those lovely fonts.
Yeah, so we made it really easy to use JSON. It's just a structured data source, and it displays on a screen, and this artist was able to do their artwork. So very cool, very interesting, made with CircuitPython. Also, this is on our show and tell, but we also had this in our newsletter. This is CompuCanvas. Chris was on the show and tell last week with the wall hanging CompuCanvas and the Raspberry Pi, and then you also saw, or you can see, Chris on the show and tell this week. He'll be doing a guide so you can build one of these yourself. This mysterious CircuitPython book with Moo, we saw this and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the best book ever already. But the artist who does
anime, I mean, how can it not be the best?
Exactly. And the artist who is providing the artwork had this amazing quote. Why did they make the book look the way it is? And this is from the cover artist. Limitless hue of the special color represents the infinite possibilities by multiplying the programmatic necessity by the creativity of the CPX users. I would be happy if my artwork visualizes the multiplicity of the possibility of CPX.
Okay, that's like a high bar.
That is cool. That's
All
like
right.
artist statement.
That's intense.
Okay. Also, we have some new guides.
Yep, Kattni did up a Pi Ruler. Guys, get started with your Pi Ruler.
Yeah, also this is the Simon game as well.
Simon game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one from Isaac for Simon.
Other things that we have, this is a Braille Circuit Playground Express using CircuitPython. so you can make a Braille keyboard and monitor. We also, I'll go into some of the coming soon later, but we have some new PyPortals coming out. We also have some round displays. And then in other Python news, other microcontrollers, other things like SNEC and MicroPython, I thought this was kind of interesting. This
It's like a DIY.
well, it's one of these dogs.
Dog.
Yeah, it's one of those dogs that walk around like Big Dog, but they used a 3D printed head and put our eyes on it.
Yeah. But it's like it's a friendly, happy dog. There you go.
Who's a good boy?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, we have some cool ESP32 doublers and triplers.
Renderings.
The folks at Espressive are posting up what's coming soon with the ESP32S2. As far as I could tell, it does everything because every word is on here. So it's
Whoa,
temperature
it's got
sensor,
RISC-V in it?
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa,
so we'll
what's
find
going
out,
on?
Yeah, we'll find out more later. But they did a little poster about what does the new ESP32.
I like this
S2
poster
have.
because it's like you kind of like dig around like what can you
Yeah.
what can you get here?
It's like a word cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. Every single week, we put out a call for people to contribute to the newsletter, and there's a ton of things from PyCon AU. Matt sent a ton of things, and thank you so much for contributing to the newsletter. If you want to see every talk that had something to do with MicroPython in some way, you can. Goodbye print statements, what makes microbit different, using comedy as excuse to play with Python program microcontrollers, profiling pathogens with MicroPython, it's dark and my lights aren't working, extending MicroPython using C for good. So there's a lot going on. You can catch all of these.
Very exciting.
Also in the newsletter, we tend to look around at all sorts of devices. So this is the message pad 130, came out in 1996 from Apple as an ARM 610 chip, 20 megahertz speed, display is 320 by 240, sounds kind of familiar. There's a ROM of 8 megabytes, the RAM was 1.2 megabytes, and the storage was 1.3 megabytes, 4 AA batteries. This is looking and feeling.
This is like a
We're getting really
PyPortal.
close to PyPortals. So we're also doing a ton of e-ink stuff. So a lot of things that you see from the past are going to look really familiar soon because there was a lot of smart work that the folks at Apple did with the Newton, and then also things like the Magic App. And speaking of, I'll be blogging this later. This is called Paradigm, and this is what a fellow named Mark at Apple did. And it was all about what's the future. And this was like a really long time ago. And they were really ahead of what cell phones, and there was no such thing as cell phones at the time. And, or at least not in the current form. And so this was this metal-bound book that had all these things. Later on, the Newton came out. And then later on, some of the folks from Apple did Magic and the Magic App OS. And so I thought that was neat to take a look at it because we're now using all these microcontrollers and we're able to do a lot of things that they were able to do in the past. So anyways, check that out. And that is the Python on hardware news for this week.
blue, 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 blinka.